Good evening. My name is Mr. Wizard, and I'm going to be a substitute teacher today. Mr. Moonen has told me many good things about you guys. He told me that you guys are already experts on positive and negative numbers, and we're going to kind of continue on with that today. So if everyone just wants to follow along this quick little story here, I'll give you a little background information on myself and my family. Once there were wizards like myself who controlled the weather. They used a huge cauldron to which they added special hot cubes or cold cubes, or removed some of the hot or cold cubes that were already in the cauldron. The cold cubes were similar to ice cubes, except they didn't melt, and the hot cubes were similar to charcoal briquettes, except they didn't lose their heat. I'll show you guys very quickly an example of what hot and cold cubes look like. My hot cubes are red, they look like this, and the cold cubes were either white or blue, and they look like this. So the hot cubes made the temperature warmer, the cold cubes made the temperature colder. The first point I want to make is that if the number of cold cubes in the cauldron was the same as the number of hot cubes, the temperature outside was 0 degrees. So I'm just going to kind of set up something on the floor here with hot cubes and cold cubes. So very quickly, if I had the same number of hot cubes and cold cubes, the temperature would be 0. So if I had 2 cold cubes and I had 2 hot cubes, the temperature right now would be 0 degrees. Any questions about that? For each hot cube that was put in the cauldron, the temperature went up 1 degree. So right now, if the temperature is 0 degrees, if I took another hot cube and put it into the cauldron, it would be 1 degree up. If I took another hot cube and put it in, it would be 2 degrees. Sure. Moving on. For each hot cube removed, the temperature went down 1 degree. So if I decide to remove one hot cube, it's 2 degrees now. If I take one away, it's 1 degree. Similarly, each cold cube put in lowered the temperature 1 degree, and each cold cube you removed raised it 1 degree. So right now, I said that the temperature was 3 degrees. If I wanted to make it colder, I could have another option. I could also add a cold cube, and I could add 2 cold cubes if I wanted to make it 2 degrees colder. Does that make sense to you guys? So it's a pretty simple concept, and we could use the simple concept to change the weather. We actually used positive and negative numbers to keep track of the changes that we're making to the temperature. For example, if I put 4 hot cubes and 10 cold cubes in the cauldron, I'll show you guys what it would look like. So here are 4 hot cubes. Who can tell me what the temperature would be outside right now if I just had 4 hot cubes?
4 degrees.
It would be 4 degrees, sure. So if I was using hot cubes and it was positive 4, it's going to be 4 degrees out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 6 cold cubes, and I'm going to see what the temperature would be. If I added cold cubes, I will put the negative sign next to it. So, we'll see how it looks. 6 cold cubes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Does anyone know what the temperature in the room would be if I had 4 hot cubes to begin with, then I added 6 cold cubes?
-2.
-2 degrees. Very good. So we would write, us wizards, if we had to give the temperature in the room, if we had 4 hot cubes and we added 6 cold cubes, it would be -2 degrees. Any questions so far? Now together as a class, we're just going to go over a couple different scenarios. Can I have a volunteer? Coming up? Coming up, Megan. There's the hot and cold cubes. So, our first temperature we're going to start off with, we're going to say that it is -3 degrees. You show everyone what -3 degrees looks like. Very good. Now, into the cauldron, I would like you to do this step. Excellent. So Megan took 3 cold cubes. She added 4 more cold cubes, and what did you end up with, Megan?
-7.
-7 degrees. Excellent. Let's say that we had this. Can you show us how you would start this off, please? Very good. So she started off with the 2 cold cubes, -2, and she added 5 hot cubes. Megan, how many more hot cubes do you have in the cauldron than cold cubes?
3.
Good. So your answer would be positive. Anyone have any questions so far? Excellent. Thank you, Megan. If you guys take a look at the back of that worksheet I gave you, there are a few scenarios. Now, some of the questions are more difficult than others, but what I'd like you guys to do is on certain questions, I'd like you to try your hardest to write out equations such as these. For example, can everyone please take a look at number 6. It says the temperature in your container is 9 degrees. What will the temperature become if you add 9 cold cubes? Can anyone tell me what I would write as my equation for number 6? Karen.
+9. And then you add -9, so it's 9 cold.
Okay. So if I had 9 hot cubes in my cauldron and I added 9 cold cubes, what would the temperature be?
0.
Very good. All right, now we'll take a look at number 1. What happens to the temperature if you add 1 hot cube? So if I just had nothing in here and I add 1 hot cube, who could tell me what happens to the temperature? Yes?
Goes up 1 degree.
It increases 1 degree. Very good. What happens if you add 5 hot cubes? 5 hot cubes. Megan?
It increases 5.
It increases 5 degrees. Now, number 3 is our first scenario that I'd like you guys to try on your own. The temperature is 12 degrees. What will it become if you add 5 hot cubes? Yes? 17 degrees, sure. I'd like you guys to try this worksheet on your own and see how many of the problems you can come up with and what the answers you come up with. All right. Done? Oh. I think I finished. If anyone needs any help, I'll be happy to help them out. So it's -4, and then adding 15 cold. So with a cold, positive, and negative.
So it's going to be 15 minus 4.
It's -4, and then adding 15 cold.
Oh, 15 cold.
Yeah,
Oh. That wasn't hot.
that's all right. So if you had 4 cold ones, and you would put in 19 more cold ones. 15 more cold ones, good. Yeah. All right, we finishing up? All right. So let's see what we can do here. We're gonna skip down to number 7. The temperature in your container is -4 degrees. So if I had 4 cold cubes here, and I asked you, what will the temperature become if you add 15 cold cubes? Who can raise their hand and tell me what I would write for that equation? Go ahead.
-4.
Good. I have 4 cold cubes, and then I'm going to add.
Add -15.
Excellent. Now, if I had 4 cold cubes here, and I added 15 more cold cubes, how many would I have in total?
-19.
Excellent. So -4 plus -15 is -19. Number 8. Who would like to come up and model number 8? Anyone? Come on up. Miss Math.
Number 8?
Sure.
Okay. So the temperature is 3 degrees. We have 3 hot.
Yeah.
And we add 7 cold. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Excellent. Now, how many more cold cubes do you have than hot cubes?
4.
So my answer would be
-4.
Number 9. The temperature in your container is -5 degrees. What will the temperature become if you add 3 cold cubes? Mark, what did you get for that one?
This, in number 9, what I had was, I started with -5
Yep.
plus -3, and the answer I got was -8.
Excellent. So Mark started with 5 cold cubes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he added 3 more cold cubes. Let's reach in here. 1, 2, 3. And he ended up with 8 negatives. So the answer would be -8.